Well, hello out there and welcome once again to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with my gorgeous wife, Michelle.
Hello. Thank you, sweetie.
So good to have you with us. We're recording this on Sunday, October 21st, 2018. And we really appreciate that you found us today. In the future, you can find us on 1057max.com under the Max Plus tab, as well as on the Max FM app. You can also find us on SoundCloud and on Stitcher. You can subscribe to us, and we'll come right to your phone or device. You won't need to go looking for us. Whenever we have a new episode, you'll get a little announcement. It's ready for you, and you can listen to us whenever you feel free to. You can find us on those sites on iTunes and Google Play Music, and we are also now on Spotify. So if you like to listen to a lot of music, a lot of podcasts on Spotify, you can find us there as well. And please, if you have a chance, just give us a little rating, maybe a little review if you have a little more time. Really would appreciate it so much, and it would really help others just like you find our podcast when they're looking around trying to find what they might want to listen to on their drive or just sitting around the house or whatever.
Absolutely, because we want to share.
Absolutely.
And we do want to thank those people who have put out reviews and ratings. We appreciate that, and we just really want to encourage everybody else, if you get a moment, to do that as well. Thank you.
Yes, and we whatever you want to rate us, 5 stars. Whatever you want to rate us, 5 stars. It's fine. 5 stars. Whatever you want to rate us. No, honestly, whatever you rate, whatever you feel is sufficient for our show, we really would appreciate it out there. So we love hearing from you as well. This is an interactive show. We get notes from a lot of different listeners every week. We did a lot last week on our Disney cruise breakdown, our 5 favorite things. A lot of people helped us out with that one.
Right.
So please contact us and let us know what you're thinking and what you think about the show. If you have some ideas for the show, if you have some tips you'd like to share, we'll give you full credit, of course. Even if you just want to say hi to us, say you enjoy the show, or don't enjoy the show, well, then you can keep that to yourself. But whatever you want to say, we're just happy to be in touch with all our Hyperion adventures out there. You can contact us on Twitter. We're on at Hyperion Podcast. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. You can email us at HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com, and we also have our own website along with the 1057max.com website. Our own website is HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com, and there's a new way as of this week that you may be able to follow us a little bit as well. As of this week, we will start writing an occasional story, not a lot, but an occasional story for one of our favorite websites. We reference them a lot here on the podcast, WDW News Today at WDWNT.com. So that's kind of exciting, right?
It is exciting. It's exciting that they hired us on as some writers for some of their Disneyland blog information and other Disneyland news. So we're very excited to be a part of that as well.
They brought us on as a team. We are the Hyperion Adventures podcast team. Both Michelle and myself will be writing. We are very busy with the podcast, with both of us working and other things. So I don't know if we'll have like a ton of articles out there, but there will be dropping in articles occasionally. Talking about our visits to Disneyland. What it is that WDW News Today looks like they want to expand their Disneyland coverage some. So they're hiring a bunch of a new group to really go out there and cover Disneyland a lot. And we saw that they were reaching out, so we contacted them, and they were interested in having us join.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And there's a lot of new things and exciting things coming along this year, coming up at Disneyland. So it's a great thing to be a part of, and it's great that they're wanting to get more news out to everybody about Disneyland. Like you said, that they're kind of growing that focus again.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about that. They're heavy onto Walt Disney World. They've done Disneyland in the past, but they really want to ramp up some of that coverage of Disneyland coming up here in the future. So that's why we're going to be part of that. And of course, you can follow them. They have an app. They have a website. You can follow them and check out their stories. They always have great stories, whether it's from us or whether it's from many of the other writers they have out there. But you can also check our social media, because whenever we post something, we will definitely put it out there for you to know that this is our story.
That's right.
That we did. So that's a lot of fun. So let's get to this week. Away from that, there's lots of stuff we have for you today coming up here, including some big Disney Cruise Line news. There's a few stories about developments at the Walt Disney World Resort. Lots of great Disney stories that we'll get to in a little bit. But before we do that, we always start with our main topic of the week. And this week we thought, I know it's not, quite yet Halloween, but it's never too early to start planning for the holiday season at the Disney parks. So let's get you up to speed early, ready to go, because It's one of our favorite times of year, and we want to let you know what's going on out there. If you've never been to the parks, or if you haven't been to one park or the other, one resort or the other, whether it's the Walt Disney World Resort or the Disneyland Resort, kind of let you know what happens during the holiday season.
Sure, and some of you may already have some plans, some reservations for the upcoming holidays, and you may just want a refresher of what's out there that you may or may not have experienced in the past. And we have a couple new things that we want to bring out about that have started for this holiday season.
Absolutely. So we're going to go break down both of the resorts. Michelle's going to handle the Walt Disney World Resort. I'm going to handle the Disneyland Resort. It's kind of what we grew up. If you didn't follow us from the beginning, we grew up on different coasts. Michelle grew up going to the Walt Disney World Resort. I grew up on the West Coast going to the Disneyland Resort. So that's kind of our specialties. That's where we kind of lean. So we're going to break them down between the two of us, and Michelle will lead us off because she's always should lead us off because she's wonderful with the Walt Disney World Resort and what happens during the holidays at the Walt Disney World Resort.
Well, thank you, my love. So there is so much about the holidays at Walt Disney World that we could just do like multiple shows on that. So we're not going to be able to cover obviously everything, but want to hit the highlights, some things that are real major things, and we have a couple little things that people sometimes miss out on that are really just as cherishable to experience for the holidays. So breaking it down kind of by some of the parks, starting first with Epcot. Epcot has their International Festival of the Holidays, and so that's at all the pavilions. They have obviously food and, food and beverage, seasonal food and beverage, but they also have different performances that, really try to highlight their culture and their traditions for the holidays. For example, you might have Père Noël telling a story over in the France Pavilion, and it is just a real rich experience to be able to go from country pavilion to country pavilion and have a different holiday experience and seeing it from their culture and their eyes. So that's, there's a lot of details we could provide, but I also like people to be able to have that experience on their own, but just want to highlight people to do that. And of course, the other big holiday event at Epcot is the Candlelight Processional. And that is just amazing. It's just
something you should do if you're out there for the holiday season. It's something you should look, especially if you've never done it before. But even if you have, it really gets you into the mood of the season. It's really just a beautiful ceremony, just a lot of fun and wonderfully put together. And really, can't recommend it more. And
you'd probably agree with me that once you are there, it just kind of like official. Christmas is here.
Right.
When you see that.
Even if it's early November, doesn't matter.
That's right.
Christmas is here. Yeah.
Kicks it off, or if you see it in December, it's just like, yes, it's here. But for those of you who haven't experienced that or who don't know about it, the Candlelight Processional, actually, it initiated in Disneyland
yes,
with
I was going to
Walt.
talk about that a little bit here.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
But anyway, so what they do is they bring in a celebrity narrator each night, and they have an orchestra and choirs that is made up of like local schools or local choir groups that come in, churches, choir, and they all participate in this telling of the story of Christ's birth. So it's a real treat to experience that. And one of the best ways to experience that is by doing one of the dining packages, because that gets you kind of in line for the best seats of the house for that, because it is a stadium type seating, not assigned seating.
General admission, yeah.
Right. And so the people who are allowed into the seating area first are the people who have gone to one of the dining packages. And the dining packages are obviously on the same day that you're going for the Candlelight Processional. And some of the restaurants have a breakfast and lunch or dinner. And based on when you make your reservation and what time of day is which of the Candlelight Processional shows that you'll see. So they have multiples during the day. So can't recommend that any more than it is a not to be missed event.
And even though it is kind of a religious sort of ceremony idea, it's the birth of Christ, even if you're not ultra religious, but just like the holiday season, just like the Christmas season. It really does get you into it. You don't have to be super religious to go to it and enjoy the reading of the birth of Christ and just enjoy all the music and the choir and the orchestra and the singing, and it just really is a nice event.
Right, and it's like I said, it's just amazing to watch it. It's astounding, and like you said, even though the underlying story of it is the birth of Christ, the vast majority of it is really based on the songs of the season. And so they're not all in a religious tone. Not that we have any problem with being religious,
No,
but
absolutely not.
But we just don't want to shy away somebody who might not have that as their main thing.
Exactly. When you hear it's the story of the birth of Christ, if you're not particularly religious, you might be like, well, am I going to church in the middle of Epcot? Do I really want to do that? Well, no, it's not really that. It is, it's for both sides. If you're very religious, or if you're religious at all, it's wonderful. If you're not, it still is a wonderful telling of the story of the season. It's really a great time. So that was all I was getting at.
Sure.
It's a broad-based show.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. So then let's travel on to Magic Kingdom. And obviously the Magic Kingdom is totally decked out for the holidays, and it's super enchanted. Big celebrations happening on select evenings with Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Yes.
So, you can go in the park into Magic Kingdom and just enjoy all the beautiful surroundings and music and food there. But as I mentioned, on select nights, they do have the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. It is a separate admission. So if you have an annual pass or a regular day ticket for that day, it is a separate admission fee. But it's well worth the money. So they have, obviously, all the shows related to the holiday season, and they have a spectacular parade, which is Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas Time parade. And they have an amazing fireworks show, which is separate from the regular time of year, which is the Holiday Wishes fireworks show at the Magic Kingdom. And that's where you can have a dessert package. And what's really nice now is that they have a pre and a post dinner package that you can choose. So you could either have your desserts and then go to the reserved area and watch the wonderful Holiday Wishes fireworks display, or you could watch the fireworks first and then go get your desserts and settle down a little bit while the rest of the park is emptying out, so that when it's time for you to leave, it's easy goings.
We've done the dessert packages before, not for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, but for other for the fireworks spectaculars, and it really is a nice way to, get a little food in, and some of it's good, some of it's mediocre, dessert, but it's still kind of fun to have the desserts, and then you go over, and you get this really nice spot right up front in front of Cinderella Castle to go to check out the fireworks and all the projections on it and everything. It really is a good spot, and really an easy way, so you're not sitting there trying to find the right spot, standing there for having someone stand there for hours, to get the right spot. So that really is helpful in if you want to enjoy more of the park.
And if you're height challenged,
yes,
it's also
vertically challenged. Vertically challenged Michelle. I think sometime we're going to do an episode, Disney parks for the vertically challenged.
That's right.
Just let Michelle go off.
Absolutely. But that's also a way that you can make sure that you're getting a very central and easy to see of all the show is by participating in one of those as well. And again, not that you have to do it each and every time, but
sure.
If you want to treat yourself, it is a fun way to experience the park and the fireworks.
Absolutely.
There's also, obviously, in the Disney Hollywood Studios, lots of fun events.
I saw they're already starting to decorate. I saw some pictures on Twitter today that they already have some holiday decorations out, and we're not even through the Halloween season yet. So they're getting ready. They're ramping up. It's great.
They are, and because they are starting in earlier November for some of their activities, and one of the things that we did last year, and I am excited to be taking my mom this year to it in a few weeks here, is Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam. Ooh. And it's also a fireworks show, but they also have lights and lasers. But you're right in the middle of Disney Christmas movies. So whether you're talking, some of the cartoons with Mickey and those classic characters, or the Nightmare Before Christmas, it's kind of all around you, and it's a really exciting show. A lot of great music.
They project them on the Chinese theater right there.
That's right. Very good. And then at the end, they have their big finale with snow in Florida.
Doesn't snow in Florida very often?
No.
Really?
No.
I could have sworn. Skiing down those big mountains they have in Florida.
Exactly. They do have. They have. Well, wait a minute. No, Florida is flat, honey.
What?
Yeah, but
What
they
am I
do have
thinking of?
mountains.
What am I thinking
Maybe
of?
you're thinking of Space Mountain and Thunder Mountain,
Of course.
or Big Thunder Mountain.
The only mountains that matter.
Right. Exactly. But the Jingle Bell Jingle Bam show is really wonderful, wonderful. But they also have a dessert party. I think you know where I'm kind of going with my mind, but I'm going to have to do
Chocolate.
a lot. I know. So,
Cue up Anna and Elsa. Chocolate.
But, wait, let me get back to the snow.
Okay.
Having lived in the Northeast, I got an idea of how snow does look. And I give kudos to Walt Disney World. They do a pretty good show of snow. As long as you're looking up and watching it come out of the skies with kind of the lights in the background, then it kind of looks pretty authentic as snow. After that, it's just...
I'm sure it just piles up and stays on the ground for a long time.
Right?
Same here in Southern California. Snowing all the time.
All the time. But anyways, getting back to the Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam holiday party, which is their dessert party, it is pretty amazing. And this one is my favorite, actually, to go to, because in addition to, they seem to have a nicer, higher level of desserts and offerings there, but they also have fun holiday cocktails. So.
Now I know why it's your favorite.
A winner.
Yep, I get it. I understand.
Yes. But just like the other ones.
But they have some spiked hot chocolates and stuff.
Oh, yeah. They have spiced hot chocolates. They have different kind of cocktails with bourbon.
Nice.
And, yeah.
Nice.
You can't go wrong there. And as with the other ones, they have a reserved area. It's one of the best ones that I have, because you're right up front to get to watch that show as well. But there's other things going on at Epcot at Disney Hollywood Studios during the holidays. And also associated with food is the Hollywood and Vine restaurant, where Minnie and her friends host that, where they have Holiday Dine. And so that's, seasonal holiday food and decor in that restaurant. Those are kind of hard to get if you haven't reserved those
reservation
yet.
already.
But, don't give up.
Always give it a shot. You never know.
Right. And
People cancel.
That's true. But as of today, if you did want to get Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam, you can pretty much get those most days. But the other new thing that they're having this year at Disney Hollywood Studios is the overlays for Christmas at Toy Story Land. In fact, they're calling it Holiday Cheer at Toy Story Land, but they do have holiday soundtrack for alien swirling saucers, and I'm definitely excited. I got my Fast Pass already for that, so looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, I saw a little video Disney put out this week that had showed Buzz and Jessie and Woody decked out in their holiday attire.
Nice.
Just little, it's really pretty much their same attire, but just some little holiday things,
touches.
Stitched onto their outfits. So really cute.
Yeah. So kind of rounding out, just wanted to give now some of the lesser, I don't want to say lesser known, but maybe lesser experienced things that people, especially if you can't get to one of the other.
You don't have to pay to go experience
That's true.
the holiday season out there is essentially what you're trying to say, right?
Exactly. Or even if you're in the parks and you want to just add a little something extra, they have the tree lightings at dusk. And those are fun to just capture. Just another one of those little things. But as you mentioned, there are things that you don't have to go into the parks. So, for example, at their deluxe resorts, they always have gingerbread displays. And I think a lot of people know about the one at the Grand Floridian,
Most famous one. Yes.
That's right, which is a gingerbread house. And that's neat. It's it's really jaw-dropping
Yeah,
when you
it's
go in
beautiful.
and see that, I mean, not to mention the great smells, but the amount of work that their bakers have done to assemble that. But they also have a lot of great treats that you can purchase there, obviously gingerbread. But what's kind of cool is you can get like gingerbread tiles, which are the same type of tiles.
The roof tiles. Yeah.
Right, that they use to make that. But they also have other types of cookies and treats, and they also have specialty pins. So if you're into pin trading, then you can get some of the specialty pins at those resorts as well. So that's another fun way. It's you're not having to go into the park, or maybe you've gone into the park and you're kind of wanting to filter away from some of the crowds. Trying out some of the resorts. Another great one is at the beach club, where they have a carousel made out of gingerbread, and so check out those. Don't lose sight of some of those other special things.
Yeah, you make it a goal to go out through the resorts and just go exploring and checking out the different, the major trees that are at some of the various resorts out there. The Fort Wilderness Lodge.
Right.
Excuse me, not the Fort Wilderness Lodge. The Wilderness Lodge. We're going to talk about Fort Wilderness, I'm
Right.
sure, in a moment here. The Wilderness
out my
Lodge, and over at the Animal Kingdom Lodge and such, and they have the big trees that
Right.
outside of the parks that really are beautiful and wonderful to get a picture in front of and just sit and enjoy.
Right. And I think one of the first times you and I went to Disney, we did hotel hopping.
Yeah.
And
It's
watching.
one of the best things to do during the holidays, just to see the different decorations that they put at the different resorts, because they all fit the theme of whatever that resort is, and they all are spectacular in a different way.
And every resort is decked out. It's just the deluxe ones have those special gingerbread houses. And then there are, as you started to mention, the Fort...
Sorry, spoiler
That's
alert.
all right. I see you looking at my notes. The Fort Wilderness Campground hosts a lot of great fun treats for the holidays. And some of the things go on throughout the year, but they're just kind of elevated with the holidays, such as, their hay ride and, the horse-drawn carriage rides that you can get. But one of the things that we love to do is actually very free.
Yes.
And that is just going around throughout Fort Wilderness and looking, whether you're walking through where the cabins are, the Fort Wilderness cabins, or the campground where campers come. And it is truly amazing how people are doing this for their annual vacation. They're there usually for somewhat of an extended stay, either a week or 2 weeks. Some are there longer, but they really go all out and deck whether they're, as I mentioned, the cabin or their campers. And it is just phenomenal to go through and see the creativity and the amount of stuff people travel with, these blow-up things and everything. But it
numerous, not just a blow-up thing.
Right.
There's some of them have a dozen blow-up things.
Exactly. There was, sometimes you'll find last year we saw that there were several campers together that put together an ice skating rink, a pretend ice skating rink that was pretty phenomenally large. It took, over 3 of their camp areas together. And it's creative what people do. As I mentioned, it's all decked out. They have lights on there. One of the areas that we saw, one of the campers had actually put a basket out that had different 3D glasses that you could put on to see how the images looked with, little types of images along with it. And it was, a little sign, help yourself.
Kind of like prism glasses.
Right.
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of people put out dog treats. So, their expectation is people are going to either be walking through, or if you have a golf cart, driving through and looking at all these wonderful Christmas decorations that people really take the time and effort to put together. It's like going through, Hometown USA and seeing all these wonderful decorations.
Yeah, it really is cool. And I don't think a lot of people know about it. But if you have the time, take an evening, take the boat over from whether there's the Wilderness Lodge or the Contemporary or
Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom. That's true. You can take the boat over from the Magic Kingdom as well. Or you can take the bus over, of course. But just go out there and just kind of get to the campgrounds or to the cabins and walk all around and just enjoy the lights that everybody's put out and all these different decorations. And it really is... It's kind of like, people do this at home. You find that neighborhood that really decks itself out, and then everybody goes driving through that neighborhood slowly and looks at it. You just pile up everybody in the car and you do that. Well, you can do that kind of at the Fort Wilderness campgrounds as well.
Right. So, I mean, it is mind-blowing. Let me tell you, I'm trying to describe it, but I don't think I could give it justice. I remember the very first time, we went camping out there, I was like, whoa, what?
Camping. We don't camp. It's camping. It makes it sound like we're going out there and pitching a tent and we're out there on, roasting hot dogs or whatever. No, we go to the cabins. We splurge to do the cabins. And by the way, if you've never done the cabins before at Fort Wilderness, highly recommend them. Those cabins are fantastic.
Right.
Really, it's something different. If you're used to going to the regular resorts, go check out the cabins at some point.
Exactly. So I mean, obviously, this is only just scratching the surface of the holiday fun that's at Walt Disney World. There's special tours during that time of the year as well. They have the Disney's Yuletide Fantasy and the Disney's Holiday Lights tours. And both of these are really sweet backstage tours of how to make the Christmas magic come alive. And so that's another great way to experience the parks. And then obviously there's a lot going on at Disney Springs with food and decorations and shopping. And they have like a scavenger hunt for finding gifts. And so, and I didn't even get into Animal Kingdom, where they have a lot of Diwali celebrations, and they're having this year a new Up, a Great Bird Adventure show. So so many things to do, and we could go on and on.
Oh, you haven't even scratched the surface. There's
Right.
so much to check out there. But
Right.
yeah, those are really some good points for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And now I think you're going to shed some light.
Many lights. Matter of fact, I'm going to get into many lights here in a
Disneyland.
moment about
right.
the Disneyland Resort. So yes, thank you, Michelle. That's great information. And everybody, if you get a chance to get out to the Walt Disney World Resort during the holiday season, you really should take advantage of that chance, because it's really a spectacular time of year.
Right. And if there's something we've missed talking about here that you think is a really must-see, please let us know, and we'll
We'll
that
share
up.
it next week or
Absolutely.
in the future. Absolutely.
Yes.
For sure. So I'm going to talk about the Disneyland Resort, kind of where I grew up going to the park, and it's one of my favorites. Michelle has grown to be one of her favorites too. It's
Yes.
still not Walt Disney World Resort. Everybody admits that, but the Disneyland Resort is the Walt's original dream, and it still is wonderful. So for the holiday season of the Disneyland Resort, it begins on November 9th, and it runs past the holidays through January 6th. So if you want to that's a little way if you want to get past the crowds, go after the holiday season. If you can have an extra couple of days after New Year's, they have about a week there where the stuff is still decked out in holiday stuff, and you can still kind of extend your holiday season into January. Anyway, Disneyland Park, arguably, it's the most decorated of all the Disney parks. If you just talk about Disneyland Park itself and how much decoration it have. Main Street USA, it's spectacularly decked out. They have the big tree right there in the hub, lights and garland up and down Main Street. Sleeping Beauty Castle gets its winter overlay, which is beautiful. It's a small world. It's amazing to look at in the holiday season. You have to go at some point during the holiday season just to see how It's a Small World gets lit up. And I was doing some research on it, and I was talking about how many lights there are. Ooh. Take a guess, if you haven't looked at my notes yet, how many lights they put on It's a Small World.
I don't know that I could. I would, let's see, 50,000.
You're way low.
Oh, my goodness.
But you have it partially right, I will say that.
Oh, really?
No, there are an estimated 550,000 lights, if the internet is to be believed, that they deck out on It's a Small World. It is spectacular at night. You have to go see it at some point. It's unbelievable. Another favorite place I love for decorations is New Orleans Square. They have maybe my favorite holiday decorations there. It's kind of a little bit of Christmas and holidays, a little bit of Mardi Gras. Right. It really is a lot of fun, I really enjoy that space a lot.
Oh, yeah. Two great things to combine.
That's right.
And the colors are just phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful and really a really cool place to check out. And by the way, those usually stay up through Mardi Gras. They keep those decorations up. Right. So if you're in there, even in February, you can still see a lot of those decorations in New Orleans Square. Critter Country, it gets decked out really well. It has kind of a rustic charm to their decorations out there with gifts for all the the characters for the 100-acre wood and everything, really fun. Fantasyland and Two Town also get into the fun. The only place that doesn't really get into the fun is Tomorrowland, because I guess maybe their holidays don't celebrate it in tomorrow. I don't know.
I don't know.
They don't really get decked out, but every place else in the Disneyland park is totally decked out. Attraction overlays, which are a lot of fun in the Disneyland park.
Absolutely.
Haunted Mansion Holiday will continue. Of course, it already is opened up for Halloween, but it's a Halloween / Christmas movie,
Right.
and so it extends right in through the Christmas and holiday season. I just talked about It's a Small World. It's a Small World holiday. They go through this and totally redo the inside. Not totally redo, but they do a lot of additions to the inside. Not only they sing It's a Small World throughout it, they also are singing Jingle Bells throughout it. We saw this, I think, when it was decorating Disney last year for the holiday season. I didn't notice this before. I noticed a lot of it, but I didn't notice before. Every single one of the singing children has something holiday attached to them, some sort of little holiday decor attached to them. They do it to every single one of them. Really cool to go through and just a lot of fun and one of the best things out there. Characters are decked out in their holiday best all throughout Disneyland Park. Their big parade they break out during that time of year is a Christmas fantasy parade, which is a lot of fun and, of course, includes Mrs. and Santa Claus.
Yes.
The Believe in Holiday Magic's Fireworks Spectacular culminates with snow. Yes, there's snow in Florida. There's also snow in Southern California as well.
Wow.
I know. It's amazing how they
magical.
do that. It is magical. And yes, you discussed it already before. You spoiled it.
Sorry.
They do actually have the candlelight processional out there at the Disneyland Park. It was actually started there in 1958. Walt started it. Unlike Epcot, there are only 2 nights for the candlelight processional out at the Disneyland Park. So it's really hard to get tickets for. So when they come available, you need to jump on it if that's something you want to do. It's usually the first weekend in December. They haven't announced it yet officially, at least when last I checked when I was looking through Disneyland's site. But if you feel like you want to do that, and they have some great speakers just like they do at Epcot there. Kurt Russell's done it in the past.
Right.
Dick Van Dyke's done it in the past. I've had some great speakers out there as well. And that takes place right at the end of Main Street at the Main Street USA train station. So they kind of go up there, and then they have the carolers on the side, and the chairs are out front in the hub there, or not the hub, but the circle there for the train station. Really a cool thing. We've been there. We didn't go to it, but we saw them setting up for it one time. We were there about it was like 3 years ago or something.
Right. But you can find online, especially what's really cool to see are some of the ones that were from the early days when Walt did start it. And it really is amazing that he came up with that creative thought of doing that, way back then. And that tradition is continued. So that is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. So that's Disneyland Park. We're going to switch over just a few steps I think it's south, over to Disney California Adventure Park, and we'll talk about the decorations there. They theme it really well up and down Buena Vista Street. Big trees up there at the end of it, kind of near Carthay Circle. One of the fun things, and we've experienced this a couple times when we've been there during the holiday season, is the carolers come out. And they even do the Carol of the Bells, where they're ringing the bells and everything. It's really fun to just kind of stop as you're walking down Buena Vista Street and listen to the carolers out there performing. Other places that decorate well, Cars Land, just like they do for Halloween, they use car parts to put out their holiday decorations out there. It's awesome. When we found out actually we were watching Decorating Disney last week, the Halloween edition of it, that when they decided they were thinking about making these decorations for not only Halloween, but also for the holiday season, the Christmas holiday season, that it was going to be cars that were decorating for other cars. And so that's why the decorations look the way they do, using, like I said, you use car parts all the way through it, but they really do it in an imaginative way that really comes through. And it really is one of my favorite places to walk through during any of the holiday seasons.
Right. It is very creative to see that and to think, how would a wrench look Christmassy? But yet they do
they make it work somehow. It's an imaginative cars, I'm telling you.
It is.
And it continues on to Paradise Gardens, and then there it turns into kind of a traditional Latino decorations out there. Lots of great stuff going on out there. They also have attraction overlays out there. We talked about Cars Land. They have Mater's Jingle Jamboree, which is a lot of fun, and Luigi's Joy to the Whirl, which is also a lot of fun in Cars Land. If you go over to I was talking about the Paradise Garden, they have what's called the Disney Viva Navidad Street Party, which is a lot of fun.
That is.
It's the Three Caballeros lead the way. Mickey and Minnie are involved. There's traditional Mexican dancers and musicians.
Mariachi.
Yes, it's really a wonderful experience and something you should actually go check out for sure. They may even have, now that, I don't know if they're going to, they already did the Coco stuff for, Halloween and Dia de los Muertos. I don't know if they'll add some of that into this year's version of it. It'll be interesting to see if they add something, a piece of that to it.
Right. Well, just being that it is Pixar Pier now,
yeah.
we could see new style of some of the decorations this year.
Sure. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens at Pixar Pier as far as your decorations. That's a good call there, Michelle. And they also in Paradise Gardens area, if you want to get down there, it really, I'm like when the holiday season, they're really, because it's kind of a forgotten area of the park. It's not really a place that a lot of people get to a lot, but they're doing a lot of great stuff down there to lead you into this area of the park. And now for the holiday season, they have character meet and greets down there. There's face painting. There's special holiday food, but there's special holiday food throughout. And I'm just about to get to that. The big thing that happens over at Disney California Adventure Park is the Festival of the Holidays.
Yeah.
Which is, they light it up and go out there and they have 14 marketplace food and beverage booths. I've heard someone say it's even more than what they have at Epcot during the Food and Wine Festival as far as food booths. So we don't have a menu list of what they're going to have yet this year, but I'm going to go down just a couple of the fun things that we tried last year and some of the fun names for some of these food booths in the marketplace they went through. So first one I'm going to start with is one of my favorite names, which is Joy to the Sauce. Which I know we tried there. We had the braised short rib with smashed potatoes and gravy, which was delicious.
It was.
We went to a Twist on Tradition, which had a butternut squash and almond fritter, which was really good. Making Spirits Bright. What do you think that has to do? Yes, it has spirits. That's right. It's all a bunch of wines, and they do have mimosa flights there if you're interested in mimosas. That's a lot of fun. Winter Sliderland. Of course, obviously a lot of sliders. We tried the roasted turkey slider with cranberry sauce last year. Grandma's Recipes is another booth. We tried the beef brisket with brown sugar glazed carrots there last year. And I think one of our favorite dishes, we went back for like 2 or 3 times actually, which is odd because it doesn't, all the stuff I named, it doesn't seem like something you would go back for a lot, but it's really good, was at the Festive Holiday Extras booth and the Brussels sprouts with goat cheese, cranberries, and bacon, which was absolutely delicious.
It was
really, really good. So, I mean, we don't know what the menu is going to be like this year, but that just kind of gives you a feeling of what kind of the food's like. And that's just a couple items. I mean, every one of these places has 3 or 4 items, usually a couple of entree type items and a couple of desserts. Right. And then they have some beverages to go along with them. And some of these stands are just beverages. They have a beer booth as well as the wine booth.
Right.
Just lots of good fun to get there to go check out all the food and drinks that are available at the marketplace.
Right. And at Disney World, Walt Disney World, Epcot's Food and Wine, they're small plates. So you get to really try to get your opportunity to try a lot of different flavors, a lot of different dishes, so go on an empty stomach. And that's one of those days that you may not really want to go to one of the big restaurants so that you can really try all these different wonderful seasonal dishes.
They've done a thing in the past too, and I'm probably would bet they're going to do it again this year for annual pass holders where you can pay a set fee and then you get a badge on there that has little tabs on there. And then for that set fee, you can just walk up to one of these booths and say, I want this. And you give them one of your tabs and they'll get you that food. And then, and they'll give you like a little stamp or a little sticker that you can put on there or a pin. And just kind of a fun other way to do this. We tried to put too much in one day. We ate too much. I would recommend that if you're an annual pass holder and you're going to be going there for a couple of days, whether it's a couple of days in a row or whether it's a couple of days throughout the holiday season to do that. And they do sell out, so you may want to, if you get out there early, to get them. Take advantage of that if you can.
Right, because that, like you're saying, that lanyard with the different tabs on it will last, for throughout. It doesn't have like an expiration date of that day, and
as long as the season goes on.
Right, and as long as you're using that to purchase the more expensive items that are on the menus, then you're actually saving money.
Saving like $5-10 if you buy all the most expensive items and use that, you save about $5-10. But even if not, you save a couple bucks, which is definitely worth it. So.
Right. It's kind of like getting your annual pass discount for food.
Right. Exactly.
Kind of equates to that.
That's perfect analogy there. One thing we don't know what's going to happen this year, and then they've had in the past, and it's really great, but I don't know if it's going to happen this year because there's been no announcement. World of Color Season of Light. I don't know. I'd like to believe that they're going to have the renovations they're doing on World of Color done in time that they'll, at least at some point during the holiday season, be able to do it, but they're still refurbishing it. We'll see if that comes along. Another great way to check out both the parks for the holiday season is the Holiday Time at the Disneyland Resort guided tour. Really cool tour, offered daily, 2 times a day, 12:45 and 3:30 p.m. You visit both parks. Your guide for this, it will take you on a 2.5-hour walking tour. You get to see all the favorite Disneyland holiday traditions from around the world. You also enjoy reserved seating. This is important. Reserved seating for the A Christmas Fantasy Parade.
Nice.
So that's a nice bonus to that. Plus, you get delicious holiday treats, a collectible pin, and they say more. I don't know what the more is, but either way, we love the tours, and that sounds like a fun tour to go on.
Definitely. What's nice about the tours is, again, they really share a lot of the backstage items that go on. And like when you mentioned getting a pin, their pins are totally sweet from the tours. They're not your average where you go into a store and
you're not trading those pins.
No, you're going to keep
trading
them.
Those pins,
They're beautiful.
The price for this is $85 per person. If you want to make reservations, you can call Disney at 714-781-8687. Again, 714-781-8687. I was just checking the other day, and they're still wide open because I was trying to figure out if we would want to do it at some point, but we shall see. And also, of course, the Disneyland hotels and the downtown Disney district also get into the fun of the decorations and everything. They're worth just walking around and checking them out as well. So really great stuff at the Disneyland Park. Really great stuff at Walt Disney World Resort, the Disneyland Resort for the holiday season. Really, really get out there and take advantage of that time.
Yes, absolutely. And you gave a lot of great tips of what not to miss and what makes it special.
Yeah.
And, and going back to your comment at the beginning of Walt Disney World is larger, and so obviously things seem bigger than at Disneyland. I think it's really great that Disneyland does do these special like ride overlays, etc., to make it a different experience than other times in the year, just even with the attractions.
Yeah, they really go all out, and we love it. It's our favorite time of the year. I'm sure many of you out there love the holiday season out there. Maybe you can't get to some of these places, whether it be the Disneyland Resort or the Walt Disney World Resort as easily, but if you can, whether it's this year, whether it's next year, whether it's 2 years from now, I highly recommend, and I'm sure Michelle follows suit.
Absolutely.
Try and schedule a vacation out there. It doesn't have to be right in the Christmas season. You can schedule it in late November. You can schedule it in early December. We were out there early December last year to check out at Walt Disney World Resort to check out the holiday stuff.
Exactly. The time between Thanksgiving and Christmas week really is a slower time of year at the Walt Disney World Resort. So that is a prime time to be able to get in there, have less crowds, have more opportunity to pick up some of these shows or reservations at some of the dining places that are associated with special holiday season. So it is a great time to explore at that time.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely get out there and do it when you get a chance to. So that's it. That's our main topic, the holidays at the Disney parks. We'd love to hear what you think about the holidays at Disney parks. What did we miss? What special things do you and your family like to go do out there at the parks? Please contact us. I've given you the information at the front of the show. I'll give you the information also at the back of the show, all the ways you can contact us. We would love to hear from you on what you like about the various Disney parks during the holiday season.
Sure. And if there is something that your family does as a holiday tradition that incorporates Disney, we want to hear about that as well, because that would be a fun thing to share.
Absolutely. And we will share that on upcoming shows if you send that to us.
Yeah. And may inspire us or others to want to replicate it. So
yeah, no question. Yeah. I might steal that right from you.
Exactly.
That was our tradition. What are you talking about? It didn't come from you. That was our tradition all along.
Yeah. It's just we forgot to mention it.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny stuff. So that's it. That's our main topic of the week. If you know the show, we always go from a main topic, maybe 2 main topics, and then we move on to the Disney stories of the week. There's so many stories that come out every week from Disney, and we like to cover a few of them to talk about some of the stuff that's going on, whether it be at the parks, Disney Cruise Line, Run Disney, Disney Vacation Club, whatever it may be. And this week we had some big news going out there. I'm going to start with Disney Cruise Line. Big news from Disney Cruise Line is that they received approval from the Bahamian government for Lighthouse Point development. Yay! So this is straight from the Disney Cruise Line blog, which, by the way, if you love Disney Cruise Line, the Disney Cruise Line blog is a great place to get Disney cruise information. The Bahamian Prime Minister announced the okay on Friday, gives Disney Cruise Line a green light to move ahead with plans to purchase the 700 to 800 acre Lighthouse Point property at the tip of the South Eleuthera. I don't know if I'm saying that right, for a second private cruise destination. As we talked about on prior episodes, we know with the new ships coming, they already are getting kind of crowded when all 4 ships happen to be on the East Coast. But if they're going to have 3 more ships coming, it's going to be tough to find days to get to Castaway Cay for all of them, so they kind of need to find another spot to start on.
Right. And for those of you who have gone to Castaway Cays, even though, you can love it every single time, if you're a frequent cruiser out there, this gives another element that you can experience and still be excited about Disney Cruise Line.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this place. So this is what the next steps are from here. Disney and the Bahamas will negotiate a heads of agreement, it's a legal term, that will then be presented to the Bahamas Parliament. The heads of agreement is basically a document that outlines issues important to both sides, and then they both agree on that. Okay, these issues are good for both of us, and that goes through, and then it's sent to Parliament, and then they can go ahead and go through with this. By the way, they're not purchasing this land from the Bahamas themselves. There's another company that actually owns this land that they're purchasing it from.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, but still, the Bahamian government does need to okay it for them to just go ahead and do it. So that may, if this all goes through here, we may be hearing soon about Disney's Lighthouse Point.
Nice.
As one of your cruise destinations coming up. So a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
A lot of fun. So on to more. Now we're going to go from Disney Cruise Line to the Disney World Resort. And some big news came out this week from the Disney World Resort, and that is that they announced a new nature-themed resort at the Walt Disney World Resort.
Wow, very exciting.
New resort coming. This straight from our friends and now co-workers at WDW News today. It's been rumored for a long time. The confirmation came this week. It will be in between Disney's Wilderness Lodge and Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground. You may know it as the old river country site. If you're on the boats out there, you pass by all the time and say, well, it's just falling apart, but it's just sitting there. What are they going to do with that?
Exactly. It's a prime piece of land, too.
Right.
Nice.
So that is where they're, at least what the plans seem to be, where they're going to be building it. It's been, like I said, it's been rumored that might be a site for a new vacation club / resort out there for a long time. It's scheduled to open in 2022. They say it will have 900 rooms in Disney Vacation Club villas. Terry Schultz, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Disney Vacation Club, said in a statement, quote, "The resort experience will be a celebration of Walt Disney's lifelong love and respect for nature, with some fun and even surprising accommodation types that families will find irresistible. It will give our members and guests yet another opportunity to stay in close proximity to all the newest attractions and experiences in our theme parks, and with the flexibility, value, and world-class service families expect from Disney," end quote. So really sounds like kind of a cool place. If you've seen the mock-ups of it, they just have a quick little rendering of it, the front of it online, but it does look kind of really like it might be a nice, beautiful spot.
Awesome. And at Walt Disney World, whether you're talking about like right now the Fort Wilderness Campgrounds or Wilderness Lodge, I mean they really pay homage to nature and keeping it in that theme, and so this is another great resort that will have that same kind of warm experience. Yeah,
that's what it looks like. It looks like it will be great, and it's in a kind of an unused area that just needs some repurposing there. And
right.
So we'll look to see where we go. There's no name that's been set out yet. WDW News today speculated that it might be called the Disney Discovery Lodge, which would be interesting if that's what it is.
It's also out by where Discovery Island was.
It is right. You can see right across the Discovery Island out there. So another place that they need to figure out if they're going to repurpose that area.
Right.
Anyway. So another interesting news bit that came out this week is that Disney submitted for a patent for a unique new roller coaster car design. This again from our friends at WDW News today. The diagrams that were posted for the patent reveal a revolutionary ride system that will allow the cars to rotate within the attraction.
Wow.
So what this means, essentially the cars will turn and can view different things as they're going forward on the track. So they can still go forward and they can turn to the side and see some sort of show or something to look at or whatever it may be, some sort of projection, whatever, as the coaster is going on. First chance to see these in action looks like it's going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster in development at Epcot, scheduled to open in 2021.
Nice.
Yeah. So really interesting new thing. And, whether they get the patent or not, it's still going to be a very cool, unique roller coaster design. By the way, WDWNT.com, the same people I was just talking about who had this story, had some photos from a little while back where they actually had some leaked photos when they were testing the actual cars out themselves, not just the patent, not just the diagrams. Right. I mean, they actually showed the cars on a roller coaster like track. So if you want to go there and check them out, it's attached to the story. If you want to look at the story, you can find a link to those pictures and see what those cars look like. So really cool and interesting and scary.
Exciting. Yes.
But fun.
Yes.
But fun. That's all about fun. We're moving on. More Walt Disney World Resort news. Lots of Walt Disney World Resort news. Boat service through Epcot's International Gateway is going to be suspended for a few weeks beginning next month in November. The boats will stop running from November 28th to December 18th. They're closing this to accommodate work on Disney Skyliner that they're putting into operation, hopefully not too long from now. There were rumors that they would close the International Gateway completely, but it's still going to be open to foot traffic. So if you like to walk from Boardwalk or from the Hollywood Studios or whatever, any of the resorts down there, the Swan and Dolphin, whatever, you still
Beach,
you still can walk. You just won't be able to take the boats. So they will have, you won't have to walk. They will have bus service that will take you right to the parks available for you. So you don't need to worry about that. So just interesting news, and it's good to see that they're moving forward. They also released a little video about the Disney Skyliner this week. It looks great. I'm excited to try it. I'm hoping when we get out there this summer that it'll be ready to go by that point. That'd be a lot of fun. And one final news story for me. Then this time I actually remember. You have a news story. I'm going to
I was going
make
to
sure
see
to give
if
it
you
to you.
remembered.
I remembered this time. One last news story, and this deals with the Disneyland park. Disneyland announces a new partnership with CHOC, the Children's Hospital of Orange County. This straight from the Disney Parks blog. In March, Disney chairman and CEO Bob Iger announced an innovative plan to dedicate more than $100 million in company resources, including cash, products, and services, to reinvent the patient and family experience in children's hospitals across the globe as part of Disney's Team of Heroes initiative. Disney is already working with patient care experts to help create more personalized and comforting experience for patients and families. They already are doing this in one hospital. In Texas. It's the Texas Children's Hospital in Houston. That was the first hospital to receive this. Now, CHOC, the Children's Hospital in Orange County, is going to be the next one. Last week, Disneyland Resort President Josh D'Amaro announced that they would be the next to participate in this program. So that's great news for them. And we know that Disneyland and CHOC have a great history together.
Right, very long-standing history. Mm-hmm. And, it wasn't too long ago we were talking about the CHOC Walk.
Right,
and
you were performing. You were taking part in the CHOC Walk.
Right. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So here, Disney will work with patient care experts at CHOC to create a combination of customized experiences with favorite Disney characters and legendary creativity. The atmosphere will help provide moments of joy and inspiration to young patients and their families, helping to ease the stress of a hospital stay. The patient and family experience will be brought to life in ways only Disney can do, using interactive technology, storytelling, and fun.
That's so touching.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear Disney doing stuff like that. $100 million. I mean, it's not this $100 million is not just going to CHOC. It's going to this whole program.
Right.
And I'm sure there'll be some other hospitals, children's hospitals that we're going to hear in the future that are going to be a part of this program as well. But I'm so glad to hear that they're doing this with CHOC, who's done so many great things. And by the way, we will probably be taking part in the CHOC Walk again next year, and we will probably be forming a team if you have interest in joining us on that team.
Right. Nice.
So.
Well, that's great. I didn't know about the Texas one, so that's pretty impressive. So.
Yeah. I actually was surprised they didn't go with chalk first, knowing that there are already so many ties in there. But either way, it's great to see that they're getting it across the country, and hopefully the Children's Hospital near you will be the next one. So that's my Disney Stories of the week. I didn't forget Michelle has a story this week, and so here's Michelle's Disney Story of the week.
Well, thank you, sweetie. And this is really like not news in terms of, something new and innovative starting, but just to let people know that, and I'm going to hopefully say it right because I keep saying it wrong, is the Dapper Day, not Dapper Dan, but Dapper Day Expo is coming to the Disneyland Resort next month. It's going to be held on November.
But the Dapper Dans are always dapper for Dapper Days as well.
Exactly. So at the Disneyland Resort on November 3rd and 4th, you can get your styling on and have a great time at their expo, which is held at the Disneyland Resort Exhibition Hall. It's really grown. Now, tickets are only $10, and that's valid for both days. Kiddies under 12 get to be in there free. So it could be really a fun family event for you to just dress up. They really did want to make sure people understood. It's not cosplay. It's really just styling. It's really trying to be dressing up is kind of usually, really the whole theme.
Usually kind of a vintage type clothing,
right?
But yes, dressing up, yes.
And they also have entertainment. They'll have the San Andreas Sisters on Saturday and Jennifer Keith on Sunday. And what's really cool is in addition to the great music with live music, they're actually going to do some dancing lessons. Ooh. So something that we can certainly use.
I love dancing lessons.
I know. They're fun. They're fun.
No, they're fun sometimes.
They are. And then they also have some authors that are going to be there doing book signing. So Charles Phoenix will be there signing his book, Addicted to Americana, and Chris Nichols, his book, The Walt Disney's Disneyland, which we talked about recently.
We've talked about, We're still trying to get him on the show at some point. Maybe we can talk to him when we're out there and see if he'll come on the show. I actually did email with him and talked with him, and he's like, well, it's being handled by this firm that is dealing with publishing the book, and unfortunately they haven't gotten back to me, but hopefully soon that they will. Now, I'm sure when that book came out, there was a big deal about it, but anyway, we're going to hit him up when we're out there.
Definitely. Good idea.
I digress.
That's all right. The other thing about Dapper Days, I almost said it wrong. The other thing about Dapper Days.
She's been saying it wrong all week, which is just adorable, by the way.
No. It's like, get it through my head. Anyways, what they do is it's not a formal meet and greet because they don't want to make something be very crowded for other guests who are at the Disneyland Resort or Disneyland Park. But they do like to encourage their participants to get together to experience two of the original 1955 Disneyland Park attractions, which is the Mark Twain Riverboat and the King Arthur's Carousel. So they don't have a specific time. They just say it's best around mid-afternoon on those days to get aboard the Mark Twain Riverboat.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Or Sunset Gallop on King Arthur's Carousel. Yeah. So, if you're interested, those go on both days. On Saturday, the expo hours are noon to 7 p.m. and on Sunday, 10 to 7 p.m. So we're going to be out there. Hope you get to have that experience as well because it sounds like it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, and by the way, it's fun. It's obviously great to get dressed up and go out there and really, have a good time out at the park in downtown Disney area, the Disneyland Hotel where the expo is taking place. But even if you don't feel like, or if you don't have the clothes, or you don't feel like dressing up, it's a fun time to be out there to see everybody dressed to the nines and just to see all the different creativity they have with these outfits. Some of it is just standard, really nice vintage type clothing. Some of it is really creative Disney bounding. That's really interesting and a lot of fun to see. And it's cool to see the different ways that they explore their dapperness.
Yes.
So, another great story, and I didn't forget about it this week. I'm going to pat myself on the back because I'll forget next week, so I got to do it while I can. So, that's the Disney Stories of the week, capped off with another great Michelle story. Now we're going to go on to our vacation tips of the week. As we told you in the past, we always finish out the show with a tip that might help you on your next vacation, whether it be Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney World Resort, Disneyland Resort, whatever. We try and help you out. So maybe on your next trip, this might be something you might take advantage of. And as always, just like she has the story that I always forget, but I didn't this week, she does have always the best tips, which I never forget because she does have the best tips. And she's also wonderful. So here is
too sweet.
Michelle's tip of the week.
Oh, all right. Well, this one is actually kind of a smaller tip, but I don't know if you've ever found yourself at, like, let's say California Adventure, where you've ordered a bottle of wine with lunch or dinner, and you still have some left in the bottle, but you're ready to leave the restaurant.
I always drink that to the last drop.
Recently, we were at the tasting terrace, and I think that didn't happen. We were ready to go, and there was still a little bit of wine left. And so if you ever find yourself in that, not to worry, you can request a plastic wine cup and then be able to walk through California Adventure with that. And so not to miss any of the wonderful wines that they have there. So
yeah, it's a really great thing that you can do. It's not like your regular restaurant where you can't leave. I mean, yes, you can leave with your bottle of wine, but you can't be drinking it as you're walking down the street unless you're in Vegas or New Orleans or something like that. But you can do that at Disney California Adventure Park. You can just ask for a plastic cup rather than because you can't walk out down through there with a regular glass, a plastic wine glass, and just enjoy the rest of your wine and don't let it go to waste.
Exactly.
So great tip.
Thank you.
Quick tip.
Quick tip.
My tip is not as quick.
All right. I knew we're the yin and yang.
There we go.
Tips.
That's true. So my tip is, since we're talking about the holidays at the Disneyland Resort, I'm going to talk about some ways that you can avoid some of the crowds that always come along with the holiday time at the Disneyland Resort. And these actual tips could be used for just every day at the Disneyland Resort when it gets tremendously crowded, or some of the more crowded days at the Disneyland Resort, or any park for that. It could even be at the Walt Disney World Resort for that matter. But the key of it really to avoiding crowds when you're out of the Disneyland Resort is go early and or stay late.
Right.
Those are the best times. It's a good plan, like I said, for any time of year, but especially the holiday season. The busiest times at the park are usually somewhere around, they start really around 11 a.m. and they run till about 3 p.m. I was just looking yesterday at Disney Parks Twitter, and I know that it was funny because I had already written this out, that the Mickey and Friends parking garage was full at about 11:30 yesterday, and then it was reopened at about 2:30, 3 o'clock yesterday. So just to kind of show you how busy it is during those times. So you get in early. If there's some of the more popular attractions you really want to go on, you get those out of the way early so you don't have to worry about that later on. Then you can spend the rest of the day moving on, explore some of the lesser populated attractions, maybe something you haven't gone on in a while. You can, it's the holiday season, you can check out some of the decorations. You can also go to the shops, you can go eat, whatever, or better yet, if you're staying in a nearby hotel, take advantage of that and rest up for the evening time, which is the other time you want to be there. Go back to the hotel, explore the decorations there, go use the pool, whatever, relax. Come back later because you really want to be there during the holiday season, especially in the evening times, because that's when it's all lit up and it looks spectacular and beautiful. You really want to check it out that way. And the best time to really do that is, go there, check out the fireworks. After the Believe in Holiday Magic fireworks, park will start to clear out. People think that the fireworks show is the end of the night. So they'll that's it. We've seen the fireworks. Time to leave. Won't be necessarily right away, but usually the attractions start to empty out around that time, so you can kind of get back on some of those attractions maybe you weren't able to hit earlier.
Right. That's a good point.
So really good times to be there are morning and late. Now, if you want to eat times, sometimes the restaurants can get a bit crowded as well. Right. So think about when you're doing this, especially if you're going early and staying late, think about eating at maybe some non-traditional times. Like, say, if you're going to have a breakfast, have a late breakfast. You're getting there, you're going to the park, you can go do some lunch attractions early, then maybe have a little bit late breakfast, somewhere between like 9:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. Crowds might not be as bad. And usually for breakfast, they're never really bad anyway. Right. An early or late lunch, so anywhere like from 11 to 11:30 a.m., kind of before the lunch rush starts, happening around noon to 2 o'clock, or 3 p.m. or later if you're going to have lunch there. And if you're staying late, then your lunch can be shifted to later, and that's fine.
Right.
early or late dinner. So if you're going to have dinner there, have early dinner at 4:30 or 5, somewhere between 4:30 and 5:30 before the dinner rush happens, or 9:30 p.m. or later. That's when you might be able to have a few smaller crowds at these places. Take advantage on the attractions, not only going there early and staying late to when it's, but fast passes, max pass. If you have the app, take advantage of all those. That'll help you in so many ways. Also, we talked about it earlier. Take the holidays at the Disneyland Resort tour. If you're looking to do a tour, check out the holiday stuff. It's at a good time of day. If you've already done some attractions early in the morning, like I said, it's at 12:45 and 3:30. So it's kind of around that time where it might be a little bit busier. So you can kind of go on this tour during that time when it's busier and check out all the cool stuff that they have holiday-wise. But then you don't have to wait out if you want to go see the parade so badly, because you'll have a reserved spot at the parade. Plus,
Right.
all this cool stuff you get along with the tour. Kind of another way to get in there. Yes, you're paying for that advantage, but it's, kind of another fun thing to do. Basically, look, for the holiday season especially, but a lot of times at Disneyland Park, crowds are inevitable. Slow down. Remember, it's the holiday season. You're at the happiest place on earth. Just take it all in, enjoy it. Smile, look up, as Michelle had a good point last night, to see some of the decorations. Just enjoy the holiday season. You're lucky to be where you're at.
Right. And, if you do frequent the parks, then this is a time that rather than trying to fight for, to get onto the attractions, is to just explore the different side of it. The thing that makes it special at that moment, which is the holiday decor.
Yeah.
So.
Like I said, that's a great time in the middle of the day when it's a little busier. That may be your signal when the rides wait lines start really ramping up. Take a step back and find the other things to do
Right.
around the park.
Good tip.
Thank you. So that's it for this week. Really appreciate you joining us. Next week is really going to be a fun week for us. We're going to get you prepped. The Food and Wine Run Disney Race, Food and Wine Half Marathon Weekend is coming up here in just a couple weeks. We are going to get you set for what you should have prepared for your race day, whether it be the Food and Wine, whether it be the Walt Disney World Resort Marathon Weekend, whether it be the Star Wars, whatever, whether it be the Princess, whatever you have. We're going to get you set for what you should know when race day comes around.
Excited for that show.
Yes. And actually, I'm handling that one. So Michelle's going to sit back and just
I know.
take it all in.
That's why I'm excited for that one.
Another thing we're going to be doing next week is we're checking out Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas live at the Hollywood Bowl.
Hey.
So we're going to come back with a recap of that and tell you how that night went and what kind of fun came out of that. We're really excited to go do that. We're doing that Saturday night, so we may be a little worn out by the time we do the show on Sunday, but
Right.
it would have been fun, and we'll be looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. It sounds like it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it really looks like a great time, and we'll be telling you all about it. And if you follow us on social media, we'll probably have some pictures from it to tell you what's going on. And speaking of social media, if you aren't following us already, here's the ways you can follow us. On Twitter, @Hyperion Podcast, Facebook and Instagram, @Hyperion Adventures Podcast. On the web, you can follow us. You can check us on our website if you want to connect with us through a comment, whatever, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And you can email us if you want to talk with us about anything that we've talked about on the show, or if there's a topic you want us to explore in future shows. We'd love to hear from you. HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com. And like I said at the head of the show, you also can look for some of our stories coming up on WDW News Today. That's at www.ntn as in Nancy T.com. You can also find us on 1057max.com under the Max Plus tab and on the Max FM app. If you want to hear our podcast in the future or go back to some of the podcasts, maybe you've just joined us now and this is episode 21. We have 20 other episodes. If you want to take the time to go through, pick and choose or listen to them all, go ahead. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Stitcher. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play Music, and we're now also on Spotify, another great way to get our show.
Yeah, super excited.
Yes. So, and if you get a chance, please just give us a little review, a little rating. Rating's easy. There's the stars there. You just click on whatever star you want. You click on whatever star you want. We appreciate it. 5 stars. Whatever you want to put there is great. Really, whatever you feel is appropriate is fine. If you have a little more time, want to give us a review, we'd really like that as well. It just helps other people just like you find our show that might enjoy the show just like you do, and you keep joining us every week, and we love all our Hyperion adventures out there, all our listeners, and we love that you keep coming back every single week. So that's it for this week. Thank you again for listening to the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. But until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope you have a magical